last video, we were provided a legal issue that we will research. The issue is, can your great-grandmother leave her $10 million estate to her dog? Remember, library staff are not attorneys, so in this exercise we will not definitively provide an answer. Our purpose with this exercise is to walk you through the resources and get an idea of how they work. So in this scenario, you are the sole living human heir. You have a lot to gain if the will were declared invalid. Where do we start? There's no one way to begin a research project. In fact, as you dive into your research, you may be jumping between different resources to find the answers you need. For this sample problem, we're going to start at the very beginning and work our way through the various print materials in the law library. Looking at this problem, we need to come up with terms to try to research. You may want to start by making a list of terms. If you can only think of a few, that's a good place to start. As you dive into your research, you may discover additional terms. Make a note of those as they may come in handy. Thinking of terms may be tough. Be patient and remember there are tools in the library that can help. Another thing to remember when thinking about search words is thinking of both broad and narrow terms. For example, dog is very narrow. Pet is broad, and animal is broader still. The term care is very broad because it can refer to animals or humans. Trust is broad in one sense because it is a whole category of law, but narrow in another sense because it eliminates all other categories of law. Today let's look at two resources that can assist with terms: dictionaries and encyclopedias. Legal dictionaries are just like regular dictionaries. They contain words and their definitions, but are specific to the legal definitions of words. Sometimes the definition to a common word may look different in a legal dictionary because the definition is related to how the word is used in law. If you're not sure of a legal word or term, it is best to look in a legal dictionary, as that may assist you with the word's meaning. Dictionary may also provide similar words known as synonyms that may help you with your research. At the Law Library, we offer Black's Law Dictionary, which is the most well-known. We also have a regular dictionary if you're interested in non-legal definitions of words. Now that we've begun to look at some terms in the dictionaries, let's see if we can find more information in our encyclopedia sets. Legal encyclopedias are just like regular encyclopedias. Think of the World Book or the Encyclopedia Britannica. They contain subjects and then offer more information regarding those subjects. The explanations can be lengthy, but provide good background information on a subject you may want to know more about. At the Law Library, we offer two different encyclopedia sets. In our print collection, our general legal encyclopedia set is called the Corpus Juris Secundum, or CJS. Think of this as the Encyclopedia Britannica of legal encyclopedias. For our research project, we do not yet have an encyclopedia citation to dive into, so we need to start with the indexes to find information. The CJS is a very large multi-volume set. If you do not have a specific citation, you will need the index to find entries. Using your list of terms, start looking through the index to see if there are any potential entries to read. In this instance, I began to look under W for wills. Under the subject of wills, there is a subcategory for beneficiaries generally, sections 74 to 113. That looked interesting to me, so I grabbed that volume and began to thumb through those sections. Then I came across section 77. I see the heading as persons and entities that may be testamentary beneficiaries generally. When you find entries in the index that pertain to your research, you will use the section numbers to find the text. The section symbol looks like an S on top of another S. For this example, we pulled Wills, section 77 from the CJS. In reading this entry, I am noticing footnotes, so I need to look below on the page for the footnote information. You always want to check footnotes as they can provide more helpful information for your research. In this instance, the footnotes are citing various case law. It does not look like any are specific to Florida, but the entry is interesting and could still be helpful. When using indexes for any print material, you may see some terminology that is unfamiliar. Generally, this index is telling you to look for that word or phrase. Ante, sometimes listed as above, means before, just like the antebellum period was before the Civil War. Ante is telling you to look earlier in the same heading. Post, sometimes listed as below, is the opposite of ante. It could be telling you to look later in the same heading. Cross-reference. Sometimes you will look for a word such as custody in the index, and it will say, see shared parental responsibility. That means you look under shared parental responsibility rather than custody. In this instance, the CJS may provide some good preliminary information on broad topic areas. I encourage you to take the time to visit the law library and look at these materials in person. These videos can provide an overview, but you will have a better time understanding what is being discussed if you have some books in front of you while watching these tutorials. The law library also has an encyclopedia set called Florida Jurisprudence Second, often referred to as FLAJUR. If World Book ever created a Florida-specific encyclopedia set, FLAJUR would be the legal equivalent to this. It covers legal subject areas with specific Florida information and examples. It also has several volumes called Words and Phrases that give you definitions based on Florida statutes and cases. This set will reference Florida case law, statutes, law review articles, and more. This is set up the same way as the CJS with a multi-volume index. Use your terms list to see if there are any subject entries for your terms. In FLAJUR, I found a subject entry for Decedent's Property, Section 325, Intention of Testator as expressed in will generally. As you can see in this entry, there is a description of what the heading is about and includes a Florida-specific illustration. There are 5 different footnotes just in this one page that I can see, and those footnotes are pertaining to Florida statutes and case law. So, if this was a subject in your research project that you wanted to learn more about, you will have specific citations for looking up primary source materials. You'll also need to verify that the statutes and case law are still good and current law. There may have been changes and the information could be out of date. Updating statutes and case law, known as key citing, will be covered in a future video. Many print materials, including CJS and FLAJUR, are published as hardbound volumes with pocket parts. Publishers will often use pocket parts to update bound volumes. A pocket part is just an insert added to the back of a volume. Once the insert is large enough, the publisher will eventually reprint the volume, incorporating the pocket part information. You will need to check the pocket part for additional information. In this instance, the pocket part for Section 325 includes an additional case law cite from a more recent 2023 decision. This was just a very brief overview of dictionaries and encyclopedias. In the next video, we will begin to discuss subject-specific treatises and how they may aid you in your research.